Just had a brilliant conversation with David Heinemeier Hansen. He's the co-founder of the software firm Basecamp. He's also the co-author of the million-selling book Rework on building more humane work cultures. Fantastic conversation. One of the things we got into was the idea of work self versus home self and how that's become more blurred in recent times. And he's arguing that we should go back to having this idea of putting the suit and tie on and being our work self. And the example he uses, if you've got two people in the office who have very different opinions on a particular contentious issue, then the two of them trying to work together is going to be very difficult and undermine the purpose of what the business is trying to achieve. And on that score, I completely agreed with David. I think there's another aspect of work self versus home self or private self where I believe there is value in allowing us to let that facade slip a little, and that's when it comes to being authentic about our feelings. Now, I'm not talking about expressing political opinions. That's expressing a view or an opinion on something. I'm not advocating for that. I think David makes a valid point there. But if it's about saying, I feel overwhelmed, or I feel nervous, or I feel threatened, and people being open about what they're experiencing in the workplace and taking responsibility for their own feelings, and very often that requires us to express them, then I believe there is a place for that in creating a nurturing, caring environment. Now, with all of these things, there's going to be some place which is optimal. And if people are spending all of their time in the office dwelling on their feelings, then we're not going to get much work done. But equally, if we spend our entire time in the office in a state of emotional repression, then we're not going to be as creative, as effective. Our leadership is going to be impaired. If we're not developing our own self-empathy, it's going to be difficult for us to empathize with others. And we're going to lose something of our humanity if we're prescribing any level of emotional expression. Now, I'm not saying businesses overtly do that, but definitely I've experienced work cultures where showing vulnerability, saying how you feel about something can be considered a weakness. And I don't think that's healthy. And I don't think that's normal in human interactions. So when it comes to our work selves, yes, I agree, keep the politics and our opinions and views, particularly on contentious issues, for private spaces. But when it comes for allowing a certain level of authenticity, I think that's something that all workplaces should be considering, and where that line is will be different depending on the context and the culture. But I think having open discussion about what we allow in the workplace in terms of vulnerability and authentic emotional expression is very important.